천자문,
千字文
千字文
In this lesson, we will look at characters 401 through 408 of the 1000 character classic, the 1500-year-old Chinese classic in which no characters are repeated. Keep a firm grip on your principles.
견지하죠.
堅持がそう
坚持雅操
And a favorable position will come to you.
호작자미,
公爵耳鼻
好觉字谜
Let's look at line 101, character by character. Firm, solid. Grasp, endure. Grace. Control, conduct. Keep a firm grip on your principles. Now let's hear it pronounced. You'll hear it from a recording in Korean, Japanese, and Chinese.
견지하죠.
堅持がそ
坚持雅操
And here's line 102, character by character. Fond, like. Peerage, feudal rank. Self, oneself. Bind, ox halter. And a favorable position will come to you. Now let's hear it pronounced.
호작자미,
う公爵耳鼻
好觉字谜
Let's look at a few radicals or components. First, look at 401. I just want to point out how the top part is the same as the 204th character. I sometimes mix these up. Then notice how 402 and 404 have the same radical, which is the hand radical. It is obvious here how the hand radical relates to the meaning of these characters. Numerous characters within the classic contain this radical. The 405th character means like. The left side is the woman radical, and the right side means child. I suppose the meaning of like emerges from the supposition that women or mothers like their children, or children in general. The 407th character is a radical meaning self. This character used to mean knows and still does in some contexts. Anyway, that older meaning does influence characters using this radical. And this is the only character of the classic indexed by this radical, but it does appear along with heart in character 276. Based on the 8 characters of these 2 lines, I've come up with a word list. I've tried to select words that are common and relevant to Japanese, Korean, and Chinese. Now you hear the words spoken in each language. Firm, solid.
견고,
堅固
坚固
Keep, maintain.
유지,
維持
维持
Continuing, persisting.
지속,
持続
持续
Graceful, elegant.
우아,
優雅
优雅
Control, manipulate.
조작,
操作
操作
Favorable.
양호,
良好
良好
Peerage.
자기,
爵位
爵位
Nature.
자연,
自然
自然
Oneself, one's own.
자기,
自己
自己
Have a look one more time at the words of this lesson. See which ones you remember. Okay, let's move on. So in this part of the lesson, I give some extended notes on each character. and I give each character a rating. A rating of 5 suggests the character is common and essential. A rating of 1 suggests the character is essentially obsolete. Outside of words related to firmness or solidity, I'm not aware of any common usage. I know that it could be used in some male names in Japan, such as Kentaro or Kenichi, though it's not the most common character for those names. This one means hold, and it's quite common. Motsu is the Japanese verb for hold or carry. And this one isn't that common, but I think it's quite important. In Japanese, it represents the word miyabi, which is a traditional aesthetic ideal. And this one means control. It could be part of the word for pilot or controller, but Japanese and sometimes Korean also has adopted the English word for airplane pilot, so pairoto. This character is also part of the word for gymnastics. So this character is very common, particularly in Japanese and Chinese. In Japan, it is used to represent the verb suki, meaning like, as in I like you, like anata ga suki desu. In Chinese, a phrase which means something like hello uses this character. It is also part of the word to express the feeling of curiosity. This character refers to peerage, or the ranking system for the court. So this is part of the word for a Chinese equivalent of sir.
爵士
But this character is also commonly used for a transliteration of foreign words into Chinese. So for instance, the Chinese word for jazz uses this character. And that's because this sound is like ja, sounding like jazz. Okay. This character, very common. As it's come to mean self, it's part of many common important words, such as car, bicycle, liberty, self-confidence, ego, pride, independence. And this is a very obscure character. In ancient times, it referred to an ox halter or harness. It was also used in the name of a very important Tang Dynasty administrative system called Jimi. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And since this classic text was written during the Tang Dynasty, I think the references to this administrative system. So that's a wrap for this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll look at lines 103 and 104, which reference capital cities.
천자문,
千字文
千字文
As always, I remind you that I make these videos partly for my own study purposes. My skills are not advanced in these languages, so it's quite likely I've made some mistakes or forgotten something obvious. And if you do notice something or have a question, let me know in the comments. The goal of this channel is to make a video for each line of the 1000 character classic while using this classic as a lens to explore language study methods and connections between the Chinese, Japanese, and Korean languages. I wish you happy and productive language studies.